There is a pall of gloom that has descended on the Indian cricket team and 1.4 billion Indians. India headed into the semi-final against England with plenty of expectations as always. England had struggled against India prior to the World Cup. But talk about turning around your form at a crucial time. India managed 168 with Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya scoring 50s. Hardik Pandya's blitz gave them a par total. That was what the score was, and the average scores were in Adelaide. But Joss Buttler and Alex Hales put in a performance of their lifetime. And because of that, England have thrashed India by 10 wickets, and it's a repeat of the 1992 World Cup final, where England will take on Pakistan at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Rahul Dravid and the entire Indian cricket team were absolutely shell-shocked. Rohit Sharma in particular was disconsolate, as well as Hardik Pandya. Virat Kohli had a blank expression, still not been able to digest what went wrong. In the post-match press conference that was held, it was not Rohit Sharma who came, it was Rahul Dravid, the head coach of the Indian cricket team, who had come to confront the questions that would be posed to him. The first major talking point from Rahul Dravid and the press conference is that a question was asked to him on why don't Indian cricket players play in overseas leagues. Remember, apart from the IPL, India's players do not play in any of the leagues, be it the Caribbean Premier League, be it the Vitality Blast or the 100 or the BBL, the Big Bash League. They do not play in any of those leagues. Because of this exclusivity, India's players do not feature in all of the leagues, and if they have to feature, they have to retire from any form of Indian cricket associated. When asked about this question, if the Indian players had gotten a chance to play in the Big Bash League, they would have gotten used to Australian conditions. For that, Rahul Dravid had some straight answers. If India's players play leagues apart from the IPL, it will impact their test cricket. This could also result in the end of our domestic cricket. Two warning signs that Rahul Dravid has said that this will happen if India's cricketers embark on playing all other leagues in the world. Because remember, the Big Bash League happens around December, January, February. That is also the peak time when India's first-class cricket also is played. Peak of our domestic season, that is what he said. Prior to this, the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy was held, and after that, in December onwards, the Ranji Trophy will be held. But the bigger question is, how many of India's cricketers, the core players who played in Australia, have actually played in domestic cricket? Because at the end of the day, can you recall when was the last time Virat Kohli played domestic cricket? It was way back in 2012. When was the last time Hardik Pandya played domestic cricket? Just a couple of years ago, probably around the 15-16 period. Since then, he's not featured in that much of domestic cricket. So the argument that peak of our domestic cricket and could result in the end of our domestic cricket sounds rather weak, because how many of India's players and how many of India's fringe talent players have gotten a chance in the Indian cricket team? It's a very, very thorny issue. And this thing about playing in overseas leagues has always been a sticking point when it comes to India and when it comes to playing in overseas leagues. So this question will continue to haunt the Indian cricket team as to, apart from the IPL, which is now going to be a 3-month window in 2023, where is the time to play in other overseas leagues? Dravid confronted that question head on, and he just said it. Like, if this happens, it will impact their test cricket, and also our domestic cricket could be weakened. He cited the example of the West Indies, that look at the system that they are in currently. But just before he ended that question, he said that it is up to the BCCI to decide whether they want Indian players playing in other leagues also. So, whether that will happen in the near future after this debacle remains to be seen, because the next T20 World Cup is in 2024. The kind of cricket that India will want to play in 2024, whether they catch up with the rest, that remains to be seen. Now, the future of some players. There are speculations that some senior members of the team might call it quits in T20Is after the end of this World T20. We were all thinking that there might be a churn. Some senior players might then decide to focus on a couple of formats only, not on all three formats. Rahul Dravid bluntly stated, it is too early to talk about this. Couple of years to reflect on it. As I said, from 2022 onwards, from this point onwards, November 10th, India will focus on ODIs because the ODI World Cup is just about a year away. The next T20 World Cup is in 2024, and how India plan for that, it remains to be seen. The preparation for 2024 should technically begin from now. Not the right time to talk about it. There are several players who have said that this might be their last T20 World Cup. There are speculations about the future of some players. After the squads to New Zealand and Bangladesh were announced, when some players were not included, they said, okay, maybe it's the end of the road for them. But specifically, if you have to look at it, not a single player has come and said, okay, this is the end of my T20 career. Rahul Dravid has also said this is not the right moment to talk about it. Now on the semi-final, India reached 168 primarily because Hardik Pandya batted so brilliantly. But the start that they got and KL Rahul's poor form ensured that India were actually playing catch-up, and Rahul Dravid admitted that we were 15 to 20 runs short at the 15-over mark. At the 15-over mark, India were 107. After that, they hit 68 runs in the final 5 overs. But Rahul Dravid was saying that they needed a total in excess of 180 to put any kind of pressure. But outplayed and outclassed, those two dreaded overs. The way Buttler and Hales were batting, you felt that even 185-200 was not safe. And Butler's winning the toss was simply monumental because he realized that there would be some early juice in the Adelaide wicket. And after that, it would become easier to bat on. When Pandya and Kohli were batting at that stage in the death overs, the pitch had eased out to be a batting beauty. And in the second innings under lights, there was hardly any demons. And so, Buttler and Hales could just play through the line. Never let the momentum go. Indeed, India's bowling also contributed to England not letting the momentum go. Too many short balls. Akshar Patel missed this length. Ravichandran Ashwin missed. Akshar bowled too short and he was punished. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar bowled too short, and that is why he was wide outside off and he was driven. Some few balls were full, but hardly anything troubled the England players. There was not even a single DRS review. That was the clinical precision with which England's batters went on. The openers stitched a record stand in T20 World Cups, 170. And so, this was a body blow. If India had put up a good fight, then maybe we could have come out saying, okay, they put in a good fight. But the nature of this loss will scar a lot of players for a very long time. On the overall tournament, remember, India won the game against Pakistan thanks to a masterclass from Virat Kohli. They also managed to win against the Netherlands clinically, but they lost to South Africa. Apart from that, they had some good performances against Bangladesh, which was a tricky match, but against Zimbabwe, they were clinical. Against England, unfortunately, they came up short, but Dravid said it was a pretty good campaign, played some good T20 cricket in the last 1 year. Remember, India played the most T20Is heading into the T20 World Cup with close to 40 games. But the major problem in that, the core of the team did not play for a sustained period of time. Only one player played 80% of the games. Only two players played over 70% of the games. The rest all were in the low 50s to the 40% bracket. And so, despite that, India were fantastic in bilateral cricket. They did not lose many matches at all. In fact, they didn't lose a single series in this entire cycle, if you have to look at it. So, had our moments in this tournament. Yes, there were some great moments. The only positive that we can take back from Australia was Virat Kohli's form and the knock that he played against Pakistan at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Honestly, I think that is the best knock that we have in this year when it comes to T20Is. Any other knock apart from this could be very, very challenging. So at the end of the day, we reflect on yet another missed opportunity. Remember, 2019, 2021, 2022, whenever the table toppers have reached the semi-finals, they have lost. 19, India topped the table in the 2019 World Cup, but they lost in the semi-final to New Zealand. 2021, if you have to look at it, it was Pakistan who topped the group, but they lost to Australia in the final. England lost to New Zealand in the semi-final. 2022, New Zealand had topped Group 1, but they lost. India had topped Group 2, but they lost. So it is a case of missed opportunity yet again for the Indian cricket team. 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019 and now 2022. Knockout games and India, it's now a new bogey for them. We hope that the Indian cricket team bounces back and they begin the preparations for the 2024 T20 World Cup in a different way altogether. You've seen rest and rotation, that has not worked. You've seen team composition issues, you didn't pick the right team. We have to admit that. So that is why now India will have to prepare not just for the 2023 ODI World Cup, but for the 2024 T20 World Cup from now onwards. Thank you so much folks for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Today. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you.